Chapter 39. Apart from the twirl and whiz of a few instruments in the corner of the room, the auto-doctor remained inactive. The delay in Perdita's surgery continued while she mulled things over. Light comes from the east. It will shine on you too. Where had that come from? Perdita had no idea. She often surprised herself. It was the job, the cover. You just had to improvise sometimes. Wasn't it something she'd heard before? A phrase she'd picked up along the way? Don't stop to think. That was the trick. Focus on the task at hand. Ray was gone, which meant the offshore negatives had gone with her. A standard dismissal, a harsh measure, but all too common. Perdita had come to expect this kind of thing. People disappeared suddenly and without explanation. If you stood out, if you made a fuss, if your boss had it in for you, if a little girl rats on you and betrays your love. In practice, it meant total exile from the corporatocracy, all accounts frozen, all assets seized, and a swift relocation to an area outside the corporate domain. Ray didn't have a chance. The cost-benefit analysis was complete. It'd be the remilitarized zone, and she was already on the way. But despair would not help. It was time to act. The RMZ. No place for Ray, no place for anyone, really, but certainly not a soft target like her. Her next step was clear. Perdita had to secure the negatives at all costs. Perdita closed her eyes and sighed. So, she was finally going there. It was fitting, really. It made sense. The mechanical hum of a nearby section of the auto-doctor caught her attention. The identity remodelling would have to wait. She had to prioritise. Having taken the decision, Perdita started dressing, flinging her hospital gown into the corner and grabbing the bundle of clothes she'd left on a chair. She whipped her trousers on and scuffled her shoes onto her feet. Travelling without significant identity reconstruction left her vulnerable, but wasting time here might mean permanently losing the negatives. There was too much at stake. Risks had to be taken. Perdita's hand hovered over her midriff as she buttoned up her trousers. The change was modest, a slight rounding, a certain density and heft that only she would have noticed. How long had it been now? It must be 12, 13 weeks already? Ridiculous how quickly it had gone. So this was... Perdita could barely bring herself to use the word. This was her second trimester. It would have to go. This was not her at all, and the sooner the better. But not today. Duty called, and if security intercepted her, then an unwanted pregnancy would be the least of her worries. The corporations would abort her from the face of the planet, baby and all. Dressed and formulating the safest and most direct route to the remilitarized zone, Perdita examined herself in the booth's simple mirror. She'd contact the recusancy on her way to the RMZ. They had a substantial network there and could help her find Ray. Pulling a cap firmly onto her head, Perdita considered her own image. The melanin shift suited her, she thought. Her darkened skin made the white of her eyes and teeth pop more than usual. She had to admit that her new shade was quite alluring. Didn't it add something to the animation running up her neck? Perdita cocked her head and stared into her own eyes. It was hard to say exactly what it was, but it pleased her. She donned her generous cowl scarf and pulled it up around her chin, drawing the thick woolen garment over her tattoo. One last look in the mirror. A fine figure of a recusant. She'd never felt more mentally focused, her course clear. And, she admitted, with a raised eyebrow. It showed. A force to be reckoned with, and no doubt, the corporations had fallen victim to their own hubris. Their vanity would be their downfall, and Perdita would be the one to serve it to them.